Thank you, Quick Shot and Raz, and of course, Ox there on the desk. I'm Valdes, with me is Wolf, and we're going to be breaking down the first 4 games of the finals. Well, not the finals, but the final series of this group to see who does make it on to the Rumble stage. Will be pretty interesting to see. I think everybody's looking at T1 as number 1, but who else is going to get out of this group?
Yeah, we have RNG with a 6-0 finish, or 9-0, and you look at G2, 8-0 finishing out their group. T1 could be the 3rd team to have a undefeated record here in MSI 2022's group stage. But now, this first game between Aze and Saigon Buffalo, we're jumping right into the draft here. And there was a lot of discussion about Aze's early game stats, negative 6,000 at 14, no dragons, no heralds, but it's a very early game focused group, and they are right now the weakest team in it, so those stats to kind of reflect that. I think kind of trying to shore up some of their early game plays, not necessarily be more aggressive or play more around early game in draft, but actually play more defensively and slower, understand their opponent's teams are weaker than they are, or actually they are weaker than their opponent's team, or their the opponent's teams in the early game.
Yeah.
And then take that and play a little bit safer. I think that is definitely a way to go. Play more towards the late game. Don't get bullied early.
Yeah, I mean, something has to change in the early game. That is for sure for Team Ace here. Saigon Buffalo, they recently took that win over DFM, and I think that was a huge win, obviously, because that is their main competitor to get out of the group. As we are taking a look at this, we are going to have first pick Lee Sin coming in here for Dimitry, so wanting to get out here aggressively. The bans, you know, a lot of stuff we've been seeing actually over the last couple of days. These 2 teams have definitely been paying attention to the other groups as well.
Yeah, I love to see the Lucian ban here from Aze as well, so that the 2v2 on the bottom side, which arguably is their weakest lane in a matchup like this, is not going to be a snowbally one. But we will see the Tristana coming through right away in this draft. The Viego, of course, is going to be great into the Lee Sin. Going to have a lot of power in those soul lanes if you can set up gankable lanes, get that priority. So really, out of the gates here, we're seeing Saigon Buffalo sticking to their style.
Yeah, pretty cool to see, as thinking about a Jhin, but actually over to the Samira. Could be the choice here if you want to start skirmishing against that Tristana when she does jump in. As what are they going to pick alongside of this? Wouldn't be surprised to see a mid lane pick and try to get things going for them. Unless they want to prioritize something like a Leona or a Nautilus alongside of the Samira.
I think the Leona, Nautilus, or Alistar, which is really common with the Samira, are the best options here for straight, and the Alistar will get locked in here. You have the ability to shut down the aggression in the bottom 2v2, and you have a lot of mid-game power in this Samira when she hits her ultimate, when she hits her immortal shield bow with this comp so far.
And the Silas was a pick that you and I were expecting to see more of. With the TF ban, it does lose a little bit of prio, but he was looking at a Alistar, a Lee Sin, a couple of ults that would have been fantastic for him to steal, but instead, he is going to go for more of the team playmaker in the Galio. I suppose this could be flexed to the bottom side. We could see that coming in. I think Galio's pretty good, especially against some melee supports, but we'll have to see where that does go.
Gwen is banned, so banning Jace here is you know, an interesting option to go for. It's one of the more blindable top lanes right now in this meta. The Camille taken off the board, taking that away from Hasmed. He's been very good at this champion so far this event, and of course domestically. And I guess this could just be for topside bans here, trying to eliminate some comfort. Obviously, Saigon Buffalo will have the counter pick in that R5 slot. It's a little bit less important for them to go down that path.
We'll have to wait and see what does get banned here. Alongside of this, the Silas is, in fact, going to be banned. So they do not want to give that over, and it seems like they don't want to pick that any longer for themselves. And so that is going to come in here. You were talking about top bans. We have seen some pretty interesting stuff in the last couple of days. I don't think we're going to be seeing the Garen, but the
no Darius either.
No Darius, I don't think so. But the Gangplank was the guy I was mentioning, and it does get banned away. They will not let that go through.
I think Gangplank would have been a really strong option for either of these teams to shore up some of that late game. And if you're going to blind here the top side matchup, because now you have the Galio flex, potentially the Gragas flex here as well. I like this a lot because it gives you 2 options here in terms of soul laners. And you get to now respond, pivot the Galio and the Gragas to the way you like. Either of those could be support, could have a mid lane pick come through here. So it's really difficult for Aze right now to actually choose a matchup they would prefer because there's so much flexibility on the other side. I'm thinking scaling is the way to go here. Now, Sion comes through.
Okay.
You've got really nice weak side top. Play around Samira on the bottom side. You round this out with a scaling mid laner like a Victor. Even an Azir, I think, would be very strong in this position here for Alone. See what Aze has in mind, because you are going to need a little bit of damage to back up this Sion. And this one isn't it for me, to be honest. This one is not it for me, because this is a little bit more pick-based, and there's ways to play around this, but it's not necessarily going to be consistent damage output for Alone.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of consistent damage overall unless the Samira gets going, right? So for Aze, it's very burst-oriented. If it doesn't get going early on and the Samira is not able to get to that S rank, might have a little bit of trouble in those extended team fights, whereas on the opposite side, I think it's a very nicely balanced team composition here for Saigon Buffalo. Definitely a bigger fan of that one for me, Wolf.
Yeah, and I think Gragas in the support role here works out extremely well because you can set up really aggressive body slams. You have a lot of damage output. You can react to Alistar engages if that's the way they're going to play it. And the Galio is much stronger in a composition that revolves around the Viego and the Aatrox because you have set up CC. He can, of course, roam using his ultimate to the top side of the map, to the bottom side of the map. So you put him in the middle, and he ends up being more relevant globally across the map than he would have been just in the support role against Samira. Alistar, I'm really liking what Saigon Buffalo put together here. They had so many flex picks. It was really difficult for Aze to actually find the right answer, find the right counter here. And the Zoe pick gives them a lot of potential to get picks in the late game. But as we've mentioned, the consistent damage really isn't there. And that's something that I think is going to be a big problem for them if we reach the late stage of the game.
Yeah, definitely can be. Then again, if Team Aze can finally get some early game pressure going in this game, unlike some of their other games so far here at MSI, perhaps they can begin to get very aggressive and oppressive with that Zoe. Try to take down an early mid turret perhaps and try to go from there. But Saigon Buffalo, they have already proven that so far they are the second best team here in this group, so definitely will be challenging for Team Aze to come in here and take the win. But let's see how they can come in here. You know, it's a new day. They've had a lot of time off, as have you and I, Wolf, actually. Yeah. A couple of days, you know, to rest, relax, enjoy Berlin. Great city. Big fans, the two of us. And, you know, hopefully Team Aze also took that time over in Busan to put that practice in and be ready for this match.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Dimitry, you know, said that he felt humiliated after that T1 loss. You know, he was very vocal about that. We also saw in the pregame interview talking about how they feel like they're not playing up to their standards, not even playing the style they play in the region. They're playing nervous, right? And I think having a break, like you mentioned, can really help reset the mental. And an 0-3 team in a group like this absolutely will need that. So pretty lucky for them they had that extra time.
Yeah, very true. And this is pretty much do or die as well, right, from this game, right? Because if you go 0-4, you're out.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not going to make it through at 2-4 unless there's some kind of crazy tiebreaker where everybody is 2-4. And, you know, probably not going to make it through either at this point. As we're trying to set up something onto Froggy, but he is just backing away. A nice amount of early damage coming out here from Alone. Very annoying, as, of course, the Predator Galio is going to be the choice this time around.
Yeah, very common to see that. And I'm curious to see how the performance here of Alone in lane is going to impact Froggy, because we have seen Xiaohu in particular be the best Galio player so far in this tournament and actually sacking waves, making an impact in bottom and top very early on. And in order to prevent that, you really need to be pushing waves and trying to threaten the Galio in lane, harass him as much as possible. Otherwise, he's just going to have too much agency around the early game, especially post level 6.
Yeah, very true. By the way, guys, I did get confirmation that, in fact, on a loss, Team Aze will be eliminated from the tournament. Shouldn't be too surprising, of course, but just wanted to make sure that we knew that 100%. So everything on the line, they got to win this, and then they got to go from there and perhaps win even more. So level 2 going to be hit first on the bottom side for Shogun and Taki. And this is going to be a very strong lane. You know, you were talking about the Gragas can do very much what the Alistar does, except not through the minions, right? He has that body slam, but flash body slam can get through anything. So we'll have to wait and see how he sets up those plays in the bottom side for Shogun.
And level 2, Tristana is going to be just so much stronger. And so if Taki can set it up, he's got the Ignite. There is a lot of kill pressure there. As you can see, the respect is being shown here from 5Kid and Straight. And on the top side of the map, Hasmed is hitting it hard. In the early parts of this matchup, too, can push things very aggressively. And he's going to have a lot of power around first Herald fight, for example, if anything goes awry. But notice, so far, Aze haven't lost anybody. This is not a game where in the first 3 minutes already there's a massive lead in one of the lanes. They're playing it very slowly, very respectfully. And that negative 6,000 gold that we see at 14 for them is often because things go awry in the first 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And so far, so good in that regard. A little bit concerned about how this team comp is going to function late. But Saigon Buffalo haven't found any cracks just yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. You can see that BeanJ just kind of full clearing the jungle, not getting too assertive against his enemy jungle there in Dimitry. Not even looking for a bit of a dive here onto the Sion. Can be a little bit dangerous, of course, because especially if Zombie Sion comes out, you never know if he'll have enough damage to take you down. As Dimitry is also just a little bit apprehensive to go for this Scuttle Crab, which, as we know, should be easily his.
Yep, we'll just take it out. And we're back away, having a reset timing here. And sparks are really going to start to fly around that Rift Herald fight. And that's where, you know, things are going to get off the ground for Saigon Buffalo. He's a flash.
Oh, making a play, but take a look at this. BeanJ is in position, so immediately you can see the flash comes in, and now they're getting in there. Saigon Buffalo are making sparks fly in the bottom lane. 5Kid, though, trying to trade it back, but a huge pummel will come in here from the side of BeanJ, who is now Alistar, and that is going to be a couple of kills that will go into the hands of Saigon Buffalo already.
If you scrappy fight into a Tristana and a Gragas, you're really putting yourself at extreme risk. The damage output of a Tristana in the early levels is so high. You do that also without real confirmation of where BeanJ is. BeanJ is able to rotate over, end up taking out several kills. It's a massive trade up here, but the Samira is removed from the map. You've gained a lot of control over the bottom side of the map now. And hate to say it, but I think this proactive attempt here from Aze really backfires. It's around Dimitry. He got Scuttle. He sees no contest. He calls out, we're going to go for this. Straight goes in. But they just don't have the damage. Guess who does?
You got to play in mid lane, too, as Alone is just going to be 2v1s here. He does not want to flash. He finally does. Really waited until the last moment on that one. A bit scary, but calculated, I suppose you could say. But that's Taki coming up for the gank, right? So you're already getting flashes out of the Zoe now. Great setup for the future with the Galio with Predator in the mid lane. It's just danger all across the board now for Team Aze.
Yeah, it really is. Straight puts that control ward down. Very risky one to drop if BeanJ is a little bit faster on the rotation. There's a setup there, because remember, Shogun can engage from so far away.
Oh boy. This is level 6 Galio. They're getting in onto 5Kid and onto Straight. The damage is coming in. Big taunt as he goes in for the headbutt, but that is not going to be enough. 5Kid just trying desperately to survive underneath this turret as BeanJ is here as well, doing the skirmish against Dimitry, but it's 4v2 right now. Team Aze, you gotta be really careful. The flash comes in, and that's gonna be the end of Dimitry and 5Kid. That's gonna be all three of them going down in the bottom side of the map.
There's no cross-map play. Hasmed is just casually teleporting back to lane. And the almost most comical part of this for how casually Saigon Buffalo pulls this off is BeanJ like walks towards him and he's like, nah, I'm just gonna do Krugs actually. I think you guys got it under control. Yeah. Blocks Dimitri's rotation over, and now Saigon Buffalo have a 2,000 gold lead. And again, the long-range engage opportunities that you have here with this comp, with the Gragas, with the Tristana, and of course level 6 being hit for the Galio, means a lot more respect needs to be shown here. BeanJ's on the top of this to make sure he can stop any rotations over, but there aren't any. Dimitri's late, so he doesn't come down. Meanwhile,
yeah, we got some plays up in the top side, but this is Aatrox. He is going to flash away, as that is just fine. He will be fine. We do have Infernal Drake also taken on live, but yeah, just the end of that replay is just Saigon Buffalo just taking them down one by one, and it was almost like the dominoes kept falling one after the other. And now take a look at this. Alone does not have flash. He is so dead. There's no escape for him, as he will dodge the Heartbreaker at least, but he's still going to break our hearts.
Yeah, that's a plate going down the mid lane. And while Dimitry attempted that gank on the top side of the map to try to kill Hasmed, who did escape, in fact, they have Drake. And when you see Dimitry on top side, you're like, oh, I can take the Drake for free. This is really nice. I just won the battle on the bottom side. I'm not going to call that a 2v2. Let's say we have a 4v2 down there. But Saigon Buffalo in firm control of the map as Herald spawns. So they already have a 3,000 gold lead, or rather, 2,500-ish gold lead here. And when their Herald spawns, they're going to be able to take that one too. Aze are not in a position to fight for this. It's an Aatrox comp right now, and I don't want to say things are going from bad to worse, but they just simply are, unfortunately. And it looked good in the first 3 minutes, but then some overextensions bottom side, that attempt from Dimitry really backfiring, and this game has very quickly become Saigon Buffalo favored in an extreme way.
Yeah, I mean, you saw 5Kid, he was bot, he had no summoners, now he's got heal as, straight. He does have flash here, but he's looking to turn this one around as he is just going to burn down. The heal will be used to save him, as now they're trying to take down Taki, but he will live as Dimitry is not able to secure that kill. And now Froggy, he's looking for more, should be an easy kill onto straight. Oh, he is actually going to flash away from that one, as now Froggy is not going to be able to pick up anything down there. But still, just more of the dominoes falling, just pushing that lead even further for Saigon.
Yeah, and I mean, the lane prio right now for mid and top means that there's nothing that Alone can do to actually help fight this one out. He's losing waves to do so, and the rotation isn't safe. Obviously, Rift Herald is being taken by BeanJ at the same time alone, because Hasmed has control over the top side of the map, where he's actually starting to take a 30 CS lead, or was getting close to moments ago. And, I mean, as Aze here, you're extremely far behind. You're going to have to give up that goal on Rift Herald. You don't have a choice. You have to just somehow stem the bleeding here and hope that Alone later on can get some very critical and pivotal picks, because the Samira win condition in those those mid-game team fights around second, third Drake, that's no longer really a possibility. That's no longer really part of the equation here. You're playing a non-scaling comp now in a scaling way. You have to try at least, because your opportunities are so thinned out.
Yeah, as Quickshot was saying earlier, we had of course, the Mercedes featured matchup, the bottom lane of Shogun up against Utapon, and this is what Shogun's able to do, right? And it wasn't even all just him, but you take a look now at the items, and the biggest thing that sticks out to me is the difference between the AD carries, right? They've been able to effectively feed their rookie AD carry, and the guy is pretty insane, as we do have the MasterCard Mythic purchase of the Kraken Slayer at 9 minutes and 43 seconds. So, again, it doesn't really get much faster than that, Wolf.
Yeah, it doesn't get much worse than this here for Aze. This is going to be the bottom turret of gold, also fed to Shogun. We will see an extra charge of the Rift Herald. Meanwhile, top side, they are looking for the cross-map play, but Hasmed has shown so much respect. Every time they make a bottom side play with BeanJ, he's playing safe, he's playing back flashless, he knows he's at risk, and there's the extra charge.
Straight is still level 5. It's 11 minutes into the game. The guy cannot hit level 6, and he's just going to go down again. A massive cast will go and pick up 5Kid as Taki nearly dies, and this has just been the story here for Team Aze. So many guys surviving on the opposite side of the rift with barely any health. And now Saigon are doing to Aze kind of what T1 did. It's very one-sided.
Yeah, Saigon Buffalo's draft was so flexible, and they've utilized it to such great effect in this early game. I think this is one of the cleanest games we've seen from them so far in this group. And yes, it is against so far the weakest team in Aze, but I'm really liking how they're pushing small advantages into bigger ones.
Okay, now they're trying to get something going here again, but Hasmed, he was running back for the last 10 seconds, right? He wasn't actually fighting. He was so ready for it, and that's like the 4th time Dimitri's been up there, so not really paying off.
Yeah. And Los also, we're in this replay of the bottom, but if you look at the minimap, you can see there's no clear wards next to where the Aatrox is, but Hasmed actually has wards next to the river, or rather next to the mid-brush, and halfway through the river, so he could see these rotations coming from so far away. It doesn't have the ward there in the brush, but he actually sees it even faster because of the more deep vision he has towards the center of the map. The ward above Froggy you can see here because he's had so much control over this lane. It is up a creek without a paddle, it feels like for Aze.
Between a rock and a hard place, maybe we'll...
Yeah, that's my favorite quote.
Yeah, maybe we'll hear the other famous Wolf quote a little bit later.
Yeah.
But not right now. I think this one is a little bit too unfortunate, but yeah, Straight finally hit level 6. Who's got that going for him? Five Kid also level 6.
This is a team that won their region for the first time. Like, they qualified through it, then they won it without ever playing in it before. They were on a massive streak in their region. Like, this is the first time some of these players have ever been tested like this, playing in front of a massive crowd in Busan against favorites in Saigon Buffalo. And they said they've been nervous, you know. I think this is going to be a tournament for some of these young players that they will never forget. This is going to be a moment and a lesson they take back to maybe even dominate the LLA even harder. And you might think, well, how could you go maybe 0-4, 0-5, 0-6 in a group, then actually come back and feel like, oh, I'm going to crush my region now. But I think the experiences, the pressure they're on, how much macro they've been exposed to, teams like T1, Saigon Buffalo, is definitely going to be something this team takes into, you know, their future play going back to the domestic region.
Absolutely. Players always mention how much that they do learn from these international tournaments. And so definitely will be taking some of that back to LLA, as even more turret plates are going to be picked up here for Saigon Buffalo as they are looking to crest the 9,000 gold difference mark here. BeanJ is on vision as they are going to turn onto him. Do they have the damage? This guy is tanking through everything. He's got a Galio, but it's not going to be enough as 5Kid is finally able to get that shutdown. And the root will go down onto the Alistar, but he's got his ultimate running. As here comes alone another big engage. Froggy also going to go down as the teleport comes in from Hasmed, but it's a little bit too little too late.
This turret is actually the MVP of Ace right now. It's hitting so many shots non-stop. Turret aggro never really dropped. Hasmed,
he's diving the turret. There's 3 people there. He does not care. It's a really nice setup on the kill. I don't even think 5Kid saw that coming.
This turret just will not die. There it goes. But that turret actually saved Ace so much. Finally taken out. Hasmed wants to continue.
Yeah, he's still going here. Straight is going to get out of the infernal chains as now there's the flash coming in from Taki. He's looking for a bit more. This is getting real scrappy now as the 3v3 is not going to amount to any further kills unless Dimitry. No, he's not going to be doing that. He's just going for a good old Gromp.
Good old Gromp going down. A little bit of a hard force for Saigon Buffalo, shall we say, there on the top side of the map. Doesn't end up being their greatest play of this game so far, but they're so far ahead that it doesn't necessarily even matter. BeanJ gets caught here, and this is actually a really nice collab. Yes, 5Kid is trapped on the outside, can't get in, but still survives here, and this is the moment where that turret starts to get insane value. Shogun is eating that damage here. The minion wave thins out, and so A's have the ability to re-engage back in. They use the teleport here to save the last minion to hold that aggro here. But, you know, Hasmed's Aatrox, he's like, I want to fight this, I want to push this, those health bars are low. Does end up picking the off 5Kid, and that's where things end here. Costs you a teleport, a little bit of extra free farm for Lonely in the mid lane, but still, these are small victories, the tiniest of victories for Ace, who still find themselves 700 gold, nearly 9,000 behind.
It's, yeah, I mean, I was actually really impressed by Hasmed and his nice mechanics there. Just kind of showing off a little bit, you know. At this point for Saigon, it's like, what can we do? Try to close it out cleanly, but also have a little bit of fun with it. And I think they have been showing that off pretty nicely. And yeah, I mean, they also have the 2 dragons on top of everything else. And the second Rift Herald was also picked up here by BeanJ. So kind of just taking everything else on the map as if they are a magnet to these objectives. And they can just wait here for this Mountain Drake as well and just go for that. Or they could look for a dive onto mid. Wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Yeah, bottom lane, side laning is going super well for Froggy, who has both teleport and his ultimate available, so very easy for him to collapse if the play is set up here. Cask.
Okay, we do have the Unbreakable Will, though, so Straight is going to be taking this one up, as that is a trait of ultimates, essentially. Dimitri's getting in there onto Hasmed, but that is a fed Aatrox. We'll see if he can get that damage done. Dimitry also down a couple of levels, but yeah, he's just going to be in a lot of trouble here. Over the top comes Shogun as he will just scoop that kill. Thank you very much, he says. As Froggy still looking for a little bit more on the taunts here, but no chains will land. And SGB will just continue to push.
Yeah, Hasmed pops his ultimate there, and Dimitry does fall. And now, you know, they're pushed away. Waves crashing into bottom turret here. Saigon Buffalo have extreme control over the map. Not a whole lot of deep vision on the top side, but on the bottom side there is a little bit. Zlonely will come over here, identify the Drake is being taken. Hasmed's down to protect. I think there's an opportunity here for Aze to wrestle this one away.
Well, they're definitely going to give it a shot, but we've got teleport Galio coming in from the mid lane.
I think you have to go for this, and you have to pull the trigger faster than this. They're hesitating so much, and now they're going to be trapped here, and they won't get the Drake nor win the team fight.
Yeah, just not willing to pull the trigger on this one, and it's not the soul just yet. Trying to send Lowly, though, into the front, so actually looking for the play here, but the Viego will get the Dragon, and even with the 3-man knockup from straight, it is not going to matter. This is what you would call smacking them with your wallets, as that is going to be the 3 of them just being taken out, as they will look to clean up the rest. Dimitry all alone here. Maybe he can pull off some big highlight Lee Sin escape. But that might be it. Oh, he's actually going to get the kill onto BeanJ, so he does get something nice there at the end, at least, as Alone is very alone. And down he will go. That's going to be the ace here for Saigon Buffalo, as they are now just stomping.
Getting farm in 2 lanes as well. Like, they are on soul point for Mountain Soul against Zoe.
Yeah.
We have had quite a few one-sided games in this first group stage this tournament, and unfortunately this is no exception to that. And it's got to feel rough, you know, because for these players this is their last chance. As mentioned, if they lose this game, they are out of the group, and so much pressure on them. They tried to make some proactive plays in the early game. They didn't have a comp that has good synergy, right? This comp doesn't really have a clear theme. I think they just got simply outdrafted by Saigon Buffalo, looked a little bit lost, started to get frustrated and desperate, and when they chose to pull the trigger, it wasn't the right moment. This last Drake fight, they didn't pull the trigger fast enough when they had enough of an advantage, because things have been going so badly. Whenever they did try to make a proactive play, they were like, oh, if we make this proactive play, it would have been completely backfire, so we lose the game right there. So they waited too long, and...
Nice try, Taki.
Close, but no cigar.
Not today. No blue buff for the support Gragas. He does have a stopwatch, though, so he wins my vote. It looks like it's just him and the Zoe. Yeah. I guess that Froggy does have a Zhonya's as well, as that is going to be a nice sleep. Alone will get a nice chunk of damage in here. It's only Taki and BeanJ for now, so Taki will be able to stopwatch, and that will buy enough time for Froggy to come on over alongside a Hasmed. Nice job keeping Hasmed in the top here, but that is just going to be way too much damage. Hasmed is tanking 4 of them in the front and also doing more damage than they are, as now BeanJ gets on in there. He will be taken out at the end, but does not quite matter, as Alone over the wall he will go, and so will Hasmed, and down he will die. That's going to be another ace, as Saigon Buffalo still just waiting for the end here.
So, like, this is where the Samira and the Zoe just don't work well together in fights like this, because Samira doesn't do consistent range damage output the same way an Ezreal, for example, would, or some of our scaling champions like Jinx we've seen fall off on this patch. And you can see in that fight, Aze had the numbers advantage. They had the better setup. They actually had better positioning. But because there's a stopwatch available, it could buy enough time for Froggy to come through, like you mentioned. And like, watch this fight again. There's just not a whole lot. Like, okay, you get a sleep. Where's the fallout damage? 5 kids like, all right, let's go over. We have the numbers advantage. Let's try to force this fight. And there just isn't enough range damage here. Stopwatch gets used, buys enough time for Froggy. Look at 5K in this fight. Does he do anything? No, he can't get his S rank. He doesn't have any power. If he's a ranged AD carry, actually didn't get this damage of Varus, Ezreal, anything, then this fight looks different, I think, despite the gold deficit. But Samira ults to the last possible second here, dies when the fight is already over.
Yeah, you know, he's trying his best. At least he did hit the S rank this time around. It's about as much as you could hope for at this time, as now we do have, of course, Saigon Buffalo on the Red Bull Baron power play, going to be looking to close this game out here. Again, we've had 26 kills in 21 minutes. You and I, Wolf, for LCK casters, not exactly...
It's not normal for us.
It's not very normal. We're not used to this too much. By this time, I mean, the game would probably be over, but Saigon Buffalo, they're definitely looking down the sights of trying to end this one, but just trying to split it up. You see 2 in the top, 3 in mid, and that will be the split push here from SGB.
Yeah, Saigon Buffalo slow and steady here.
Trying to get in the back there, but the kick is not quite going to work out from Dimitry. As Froggy, he's got his Zonias, and all he's got to do is sit in the front. A big cast, but the damage comes in now from Dimitry, and Hasmed is diving the turret, taking so much damage, but it does not seem to matter as he picks up a double kill. Down will go that pesky turret, and down will go the rest of Team A's. Zombie Sion, no different, as they will take down this first inhibitor.
Yeah, and I think they're looking for more. There's just no damage here to stop this. Zoe alone is not going to be able to do anything.
Not sure about the flash, but you know, they still got the job done. That's going to be the end of this game, guys. 25 kills in 23 minutes for Saigon Buffalo as they take game number 1 against Team Ace.
And this will eliminate Team Ace from the Rumble stage contention. They will have 2 more games to play, but going 0-4 drops them out of the group. Nerves definitely showing for this young team from the LLA region, but I think this is going to be an unforgettable experience, traveling to Busan, playing against some of the best teams in the world. And for now, Saigon Buffalo, they put themselves 1 step closer.
What is he giving them? Maybe little candies?
I'm
That's
not 100%
really cute.
sure.
They're like trying to fist bump. He's like, here's a piece of candy.
Gifting over something
Love
here
it.
at the loss. But Saigon Buffalo now puts themselves 1 step closer in the race to second place between themselves and DFM. This is what this group is really now all about. And to find out if, of course, T1 can have the perfect group, take the 6-0, be the 3rd major region team to do so. It's been a very one-sided first group stage. I think everybody knows that. It's been, it's been kind of talked about a lot, this first group stage in 2022. But, that's just how it is sometimes. You will get these mismatches. VCS is a region we haven't seen in a long time. This is the 2nd place team from the region. And they're really showing, people who have forgotten about the Vietnamese region, how strong they really are.
Take a look at that. Siaso saying, come here and fight me. That is what Straight was giving them as some gifts there at the end. It wasn't candy, but maybe had the same effect there at the end. But yeah, I like that point about VCS. I'm very curious to see just how far Saigon Buffalo can push it in this tournament. But guys, we are headed for a break. But as we go check out the latest sounds of the game presented by Bose featuring Saigon Buffalo in their match against DFM earlier this week.
Samira chặn, tao Samira chặn. Ê, tao mờ này. Tao rồi. Thì TF hết bài nha, TF hết bài. Samira kìa, Samira nấp kìa. Hey, hai giây của em nè, canh sấy này. Thôi lên nè. Thôi không lá theo được. Baron. Baron hơi khó. Đánh lộn. Quẹt head quốc cái. Nhớ hòm máu ta liền nha. Tao đứng rờ ra nha, tụi bay. Thằng rẽ nó tả con rơ nha anh em. Từ từ nha, đợi tự nhiên nhau. Xe kêu lại nha. Đợi nó chạm mình cái rồi đánh nha. Viego chừng mặt, bộ nam rồi chừng mặt. Đợi có vợ xuống nha. Ê, mình ăn được anh em. Ê, từ thôi. Từ từ thôi, để nó chạm cái. Rồi, sao rồi. Thôi mình camera mình đánh từ đó. Ê, tao lị đâu anh em. Lá nào, uốt nó dồn nó. Thôi, bọt cái nó giữ máu cái đôi. Baron anh em, Baron. Ê, tao hẹn bảo đó nha. Tao hết sườn mai nha. Ê, thầy bảo đi. Ê, giết nó. Bỏ bắt đôi, giết nó. Tẹp đây nè. Có bờ tao. Baron anh em, Baron. Nice. Theo. Mình không lá. Ê, tụi nó không lại anh em ơi. Tụi nó không làm. Theo được. Nó tràn lên. Canh lưu được nha, đừng gướng nha. Ok. TF lát nha. Ok.